Hello guys, welcome to another episode with Rusi Baby. In today's episode, I'll be specifically speaking to the singles and the dating couples thinking about marriage. So if you're single or you're dating, this video is for you. If you're thinking about having a perfect wedding, but you're not preparing for the real work of marriage, this video is your wake-up call. Marriage is not just about the rings or the dress or the honeymoon. Of course, those things are important and nice, but it is mainly about character, consistency, and commitment. So in today's episode, I'll be talking about things you must be able to handle before you say I do. So in other words, if you cannot handle these things, then you're not entirely ready for marriage. So let's dive in what we have for today. But of course, before I begin, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also like and comment on my videos as well. To all those that have been subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing my videos, thank you so much everyone. I love you guys so much. So what are those things you should be able to handle in marriage to show that you're ready for marriage? Number one is conflict. Yes, you should be able to handle conflict. If your default response to misunderstandings or conflicts in marriage is ghosting your partner or silent treatment, then my dear, you're not entirely ready. For example, if a couple is having misunderstanding about finance and one person decides not to talk about it and decides to give your partner silent treatment, my dear, that is not maturity. Avoiding your partner in times of conflict is not maturity. Giving your partner silent treatment is not maturity. In fact, that is emotional immaturity in disguise. Okay, nobody prays for conflict in marriage. In fact, there are marriages without conflict. I talked about that in one of my previous videos. You can check it out. But what if those conflicts occur? You never can tell. It could happen in your marriage. So what I'm trying to say is that you should prepare yourself. You should know how to handle conflicts when they come. You should not be the type that handle conflict in a very immature way. If not, it will affect your marriage negatively. Can you handle delayed gratification in marriage? You know, marriage is full of seasons. There are times of abundance. There are times when things will be somehow. You understand? So, you need to ask yourself, can you handle delayed gratification without resentment in marriage? For example, maybe you want to buy a car for yourself and your partner has a debt to pay. Can you delay that thing that you want? Can you make that sacrifice for your partner? Can you give that money that you want to use to buy a car to your partner? Can you be able to make sacrifices that will cost you a lot in marriage? Or is your impulse going to wreck everything? Think about it. Marriage and love is all about sacrifice. Can you do it? Another thing you should be able to handle before you say I do is taking correction without getting defensive. Are you the type of person that doesn't like to be corrected? You don't like to be criticized. Whenever you're corrected or criticized, you take it as a personal attack. My dear, that is definitely something that can shut down growth in marriage. You should be open for correction. For example, are you the type of person that anytime your partner corrects you or criticizes you over something you did, you always get angry over it? Instead of listening to your partner, paying attention, be open for correction, you get always defensive. That is something that can definitely affect the relation between you and your partner. Because someone that doesn't like to take correction, sometimes your partner will get tired of correcting you. So you should be open for change in marriage. It is very important. You should be able to handle having hard conversations. It is very important. These are conversations that will save your marriage. Can you have conversations about sex, about your in-laws, about your mental health, about money, about your past without shutting down? These are conversations you need to get used to having in marriage, because definitely you're going to talk about them before and after getting married. They are very vital conversations you cannot run away from. So you should be able to have these conversations with your partner. before you say I do. For example, if as a wife you see that your husband is emotionally withdrawn, he's just not himself, you should be able to have conversations with him to find out what the problem is. You should not be the type of partner that will just ignore your partner when you can see obviously that your partner is emotionally down. You should be able to have that hard conversation with your partner. Find out what the problem is. That is why that person is your partner. Don't be the type that ignores your partner when you see that that person is obviously emotionally down. It shows that you don't care. So such conversations are conversations that will save your marriage. So it is very important. Do not be the type that run away from such conversations. You should be able to handle being faithful even when no one is watching. Yes, loyalty is very important in marriage. But loyalty is not just tested when people are around. Loyalty is proven in private. For example, if you really want to stay faithful to your partner, then you have to work for it. You have to intentionally make effort to be faithful. You cannot say you want to be faithful to your partner, you want to be loyal to your partner, but you're always creating the atmosphere to fail. You're always putting your position in a way that can make you fail that loyalty test. Flirting and all those things, anything that will tempt your loyalty to your partner should be avoided if you really want to stay faithful. But if you say you want to stay faithful and you're doing the things that will even help you not to be faithful to your partner, then my dear, you're playing with fire. In fact, you're not even ready to be faithful. If you really want to be faithful, you have to work for it. You have to make sure you avoid anything that will put you in that compromising position. Managing money together is another very important thing you have to learn how to handle before you say I do. You don't need to be wealthy in order to manage money. You just have to be responsible. Of course, you know that money is very important in marriage. So for example, if you're the type that always hide to do some certain things, if you want to do some certain things with money, you always hide it from your partner, whether good or bad, then my dear, I don't think you're ready for this marriage of a thing. Because financial trust is non-negotiable in marriage. Can you live without constant attention? Marriage is not designed to complete your self-esteem. You should be emotionally stable before getting married. For example, are you the type that always flare up or get angry anytime you call your partner and your partner does not pick immediately? Like you just have that bad habit. Then my dear, you're not ready. In fact, that is definitely a red flag. Like you're this type of person that craves for immediate attention. Or if not, if you don't get it immediately when you want it, you're angry, you're flaring up, you're throwing tantrums. My dear, that is a sign of emotional instability. Marriage requires emotional independence. You have to be emotionally stable before getting married. You understand? Be able to control yourself, control your emotions. It's not every time that things will go exactly the way you want it. So the times when it doesn't, you should be able to control yourself. It's very important. There will be times when your partner will not give you 100% attention like they used to. You should be able to manage that situation. What about when your children start coming? Don't you know that there will be times of divided attention? You should be able to manage your emotion, control yourself. Emotional stability is very important. Can you apologize? Especially apologizing without justifying your actions. A real apology does not include you saying sorry and then saying but. For example, you want to apologize to your partner, then you're like, I'm sorry I hurt you, but you started it. I mean, that is not entirely a sincere apology. That's not a real apology. In fact, that is a blame. You understand? You should be able to apologize, sincerely apologize to your partner whenever you hurt your partner without justifying your actions. And also, there are people that don't even know how to apologize. As in, they don't apologize. As in, sorry is not in their dictionary. My dear, if you're like that, then you have to change. You have to adjust your mindset, adjust your character before getting married. How can you say you don't ever apologize to anybody in this earth, no matter who the person is? That's nonsense. So you're trying to say your partner should marry you the way you are and tolerate your nonsense forever? No. Adjust your character. I mean, this is sorry. It's just sorry. So you should it's not that hard. So just learn it. before you get married, because it is needed. There are times when you hurt your partner, you have to apologize for your partner to let it go. So apology is very important. Learn it. Can you forgive without bringing it up later? Forgiveness means letting go of the leverage. For example, are you the type of person that says, I forgive you, but whenever you get involved in an argument with that same person you said, I forgive you, you don't use it as an ammo against the person? My dear, you hurt that person's feelings. You cannot even heal if you don't let go. Forgiveness means forgiving and forgetting, forgiving and letting go. So you have to learn to forgive and let go. You should not be the type of person that you say you forgive. You said it in words, but your action doesn't show that you're forgiving that person. That means you lack the capacity to forgive. No, my dear, you're not ready. You're definitely not ready for marriage. You have to learn to forgive. You have to learn to let go. That is the only way your marriage will be able to heal, move on. At times when your partner will hurt you and apologize, you should be able to forgive. Forgive and let go. Not forgive and bring it up later anytime you guys have another misunderstanding. No. That means you did not forget about it now. So please, you should have to learn to forgive and forget before you say I do. Another thing you should do before you say I do is being friends first with your partner. There are times in marriage when romance fades, but there is something that can sustain, and that is friendship. Friendship is very important. There are some certain things that when you pass through in marriage, all you just need is a friend. So can you find that friend in your partner? You should be able to find a friend in your partner before you say I do. Friendship is also something that will help you to build your relationship to a better one. A couple that stays together, dream together, plan together, support each other, play together, will definitely stay together. Friendship is something that will help you guys to keep the fire burning, fire of attraction burning in your marriage. So friendship is very, very important. Can you handle being attracted to character and not just chemistry? My dear, looks fade, but character stays. It is that person's character that will stay forever in that marriage, but that person's look can fade. It is good to marry a good-looking man. It is good to marry a beautiful woman. But let it not be just because of your partner's looks. That is the only thing you love about them. The character, the content is also very important. Because looks can fade. People get old. People change. For example, your beautiful wife can get ugly when she's pregnant. So if that is the only thing you like about her, so when she gets ugly, does it mean that you run away from the marriage? No. There should be something about that person's character that you also love. That is what will help you in the long run when the looks are no longer there. So character is way, way more important because that is what stays. Because if you pick chemistry, if you pick looks over character, like you don't consider the character at all, you don't mind, even if it's something that you know that person's character is something you don't tolerate, but just because of that person's looks, you decided to just manage that person, then my dear, you are about to enter into a short-term something with that person. There is a high possibility that it will not last. So it's also very important that you consider the character and not just the looks, not just the chemistry. Praying together and for each other is another thing you need to learn before you say I do. If you're not spiritually connected to your partner, then you will struggle to be emotionally and even physically connected to your partner. Being spiritually connected to your partner is very important. A couple that prays together, a couple that is spiritually connected to each other, will easily handle their conflicts with humility. So the spiritual life of your marriage is very, very important. And the both of you need to learn to stay connected spiritually at all times. You also need to learn how to carry each other's weaknesses. See, in marriage, you will not always get the best of your partner. You understand? So can you be with them in their worst? For example, are you the type that will change when your marriage begins to face storms? For example, maybe your partner lost his or her job, or your partner is just facing depression, having a bad day. Are you the type that will lose respect for your partner all because he or she lost their job? Or you will leave your partner and run away, or you abandon your partner, or you forget about the loyalty you guys once shared, all because your partner is going through something? You have to learn to be there for your partner, even when times are bad. You need to learn to handle not needing constant validation. Are you the type that needs to be praised in order to feel loved? Okay, what of when storms hit your marriage and those praises don't come anymore? Those praises don't come anymore. Does it mean you will crumble? Are you the type of partner that throws tantrums and begin to act off? All because maybe your partner forgot your birthday, or forgot your wedding anniversary, or forgot a very important occasion. Are you the type that, takes this kind of thing so serious that whenever your partner misses anyone, then there will be a problem in your home? No. You should be able to handle not needing constant validation. Times like this happen. There are times when your partner will be so busy that they won't forget their own birthday. They can forget your own birthday. It happens. So don't be the type. That is emotional immaturity. Come on. These things happen. It happens. So please, don't be the type that if little things like this happen, you take it so serious. It can affect the bond you share with your partner. Can you handle keeping your vows even when it's not convenient? Don't forget that love is choice and not just a feeling. What does your marriage vow say? In sickness and in health, all circumstances, you should choose to love your partner. Last but not the least, you have to learn how to honor boundaries with the opposite sex before you say I do. This is very, very important. You should not be too casual with temptation. If not, you will break the trust easily. You're not doing anything wrong with someone, maybe you call a friend or a colleague of the opposite sex, but you're always putting yourself in a compromising position that can make your partner lose the trust they have for you. So you should not do that. You have to learn to honor boundaries with the opposite sex. Because if you do not, that is emotional cheating in disguise. It can make your partner lose the trust they have for you. And that is not good at all. And finally, for today's episode, you have to be willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. In marriage will actually reveal that part of you that you didn't know that needed changes and healing. For example, maybe you grew up thinking that yelling and nagging is normal. But in marriage, you have to unlearn such character and learn peace, choose peace, so that you can enjoy your home. Because not everybody that can tolerate that yelling and nagging. Maybe it's something that you just learned while you were growing up. So that is definitely something you need to unlearn. There are also things you need to learn and relearn in marriage. So it's very important. So which of these points from today's episode hits you the most? Anyway, if any of these points hit you the most, it's not condemnation. In fact, it's a sign, it's a cue for you to grow. Because marriage is a gift from God, although it's not for the faint of heart. So you have to work for it, for your marriage to work. So that is all for today's episode. If you are blessed by today's video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share to someone that definitely needs to watch this video. That's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next episode.